Colossal Order is back with their brand new, revamped style of communications, and today we're hearing all about the economy, how it actually works, or perhaps doesn't. Let's jump straight in. Firstly, some opening remarks. They conclude that the feedback's generally pretty good about last week's Word of the Week. Looks like the Q&A format worked pretty well, and while the dev team is hurriedly working away on code modding support, they're going to focus on talking about the economy. They acknowledge, quote, "The economy did not meet the quality standard we strive for, and I apologize for the frustration this caused. In the post-release patches, we have included fixes for issues present in the economy implementation, but some still remain, and we're working on resolving those thanks to your reports," end quote. Perhaps the wording there could have been a little bit stronger. I'm sure that some of you feel just a bit more than frustrated about the state of the economy. I see lots of comments about city painting, city building, but equally nice to see that acknowledgement. Let's get into the detail. First up, specialized industries. What do they do, and how does it affect the local economy? Specialized industries provide the raw materials as a local means to use them so that businesses don't have to import things from outside connections. That leads to industries generally being more prosperous. Importing from outside connections is obviously a more expensive choice than local availability, so local resources will benefit a company's bottom line. We'll talk a bit more about profitability in a future point. They say that their design team will look into how to make it clearer which companies are importing or exporting and how you can affect that, because at the moment it is, in some places, honestly, a bit of a sort of a superficial understanding. I think we need that extra detail. Now on to city services. Why are some services free to import while others have a fee? They say one part of the budget panel's expenses is the cost of service trade. Only part of the services are charged when traded: electricity, water, and sewage. Other services do not cost you anything at all to import. Why? Well, the cost of these traded services comes in the form of time, as it will take a long time for them to arrive at their destination, increasing the negative effects on a city. The example that they give is that a citizen waiting for an ambulance for a long time increases their probability of not making it when their health is low for a long time. Additionally, when a citizen is waiting for treatment, they can't go to work, giving the company a penalty to its efficiency. So, time is the currency for services outside of electricity, water, and sewage, and the negative impacts of waiting is effectively the cost that we pay. Okay, so far we've been moving fairly quickly. This one is going to be just a little bit more of a head scratcher. How is profitability determined? In City Skylines 2, the company's profitability is calculated by their revenue and expenses. This can include employee salary, resource buying, tax paying, of course, as well as daily production. The profitability indicates the possibility, the chance, for a positive income, and it varies between 0 and a value of 255. When there is no income for a company, and it still needs to pay a lot of expenses, the profitability can become 0. Making no money, profitability score 0. But it doesn't mean the company currently doesn't have any money, but rather predicts the value of revenue or loss of money. Issues like the lack of employees, the lack of input or output resources can cause profitability to fluctuate. When it comes to the profitability of the company, the calculations may change after they evaluate the complexity of the entire economy based on the feedback they've received so far. This one, I had to read this one a few times, not necessarily because they keep using words that started with P, though there were certainly a lot of those, but rather because I couldn't quite determine whether the things that they mention, employee salary, resource buying, tax paying, daily production, one has to assume some kind of sales. Last week we learned that internet shopping is in the game, teleportation, but putting that to one side, whether it's that, or whether it's kind of just a random number generator. So I'm going to leave this one here. I'd be really interested in particular to understand your interpretation of this point in the comments below. Let's move forward. What about the budgets, the monthly balance books? What does the monthly balance show? The game's UI includes tools for us to observe and control the overall economy. The monthly balance in the economies panel's budget tab counts the current reserves and expenses together. It shows what is currently estimated, the amount of money the city will gain or lose in a month, and note that 1 day cycle in the game equals 1 month. The city economy has been affected by bugs that caused the expected income or loss to not match the actual monthly income of a city, i.e. it wasn't representing what it should have. They say they're working to resolve the remaining issues with things like industrial tax reaching high values for no apparent reason. This one felt slightly fluffy to me. What does the monthly balance show? Well, it shows the monthly balance, and it's a bit broken. Okay, moving swiftly along. The penultimate question, what does 9% interest on a loan mean, and how is it calculated? It will add a loan interest to the budget panel, a monthly fee that will apply to your city's money. It's calculated by a formula, and as the remaining loan amount decreases each month, so will the amount your city pays. This is essentially Economics 101 here. I understand not everybody will be across these concepts and how they work, but the answer is basically works the same as it does in real life, right? That's what I take from that. Perhaps not super specific to City Skylines 2. However, the final point is land value. They say they've received questions about land value and wanted to share a quick update about the current state of land value and demand systems, as both will have changes and fixes included in the next patch of the game. So they're updating us on what exists right now because they're going to be changed. The land value system has been worked on for a while, they say, with the first improvements available in patch 1.0.19F1. Those catchy names will never get old. And the demand system will be improved to make it easier to understand. Fixing major systems like land value takes a bit more time than the usual bug fixes because these elements are connected to the other parts of the game's economy. Their goal with the changes is to make the systems more user-friendly to work with. For example, making it easier to understand what causes high rents and how you can actually change that. They're going to go over land value and demand system improvements after the changes are in. So unfortunately, we're going to have to wait to get the real answers to that question. And that, my friends, concludes today's video on what does seem to be a fairly popular format for City Skylines 2 moving forward. And of course, after that Please Explain call from Paradox last week, I expect we'll continue to see communications from them. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. And apologies for my congested voice. I'm going to try and get rid of it in the editor, but my lord, it's been a week.